What up? What up? What up? Welcome to Bleav in Rams, presented by FanDuel. Erin Coscarelli back with my co-host, Super Bowl champion Rob Havenstein, our tackle. And now I don't know, I want to get your instant feedback. How are you feeling that you no longer, Myles Garrett on the team? You were breaking down what this meant let's just get your reaction. How are you feeling?
Oh yeah, no, I mean it was I think I'm feeling like everybody else is feeling. It's, when you first saw the news, it was like, all right, it's the same thing, same rumor mill going around. Then you all of a sudden you see it's Adam Schefter that tweeted it, and you're like,
Mhm.
oh, this might be actually kind of real. And you start digging in a little more, you're like, oh, this thing's happening. And I think it's still being finalized at the moment, but maybe it went through already. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's absolutely crazy. I'm feeling just the way you are right now, Erin. It's just
Yeah.
like, oh wow, that is a splash, typical Rams
Yeah.
fashion.
Yeah, and you were talking about wanting someone on the defensive line. You were mentioning Lawrence and all of those
Mhm.
types of, just to sort of add some extra oomph. But Myles Garrett, we were hearing at Super Bowl during Super Bowl week, he was unhappy, but he didn't want to talk about it. So if you go on FanDuel Sportsbook right now, the Rams they were already in the one spot to win the Super Bowl. They are now the 550 plus
Mhm.
favorite in terms of Super Bowl odds on FanDuel Sportsbook. And, we're going to talk about what the Rams got. We're going to talk about what the Browns got. It's just, I love the play by play of your sort of response to it because it's June 1st. We were
Mhm.
thinking the Rams were going to make a splash, but let me break down exactly what is being reported that the Rams sort of moved around. So obviously, the Rams are getting Myles Garrett in exchange for the pass rusher. The Browns will receive former, obviously, defensive rookie of the year in Jared Verse, a 2027 first round pick, a 2028 second round, and a third round pick in 2029. So that's a lot of draft capital. And we're going to be sort of breaking down what all of that means on the field, off the field, in the future. But your reaction, because guys at home, you're going to get feedback and sort of insight you really can't get anywhere else. Rob was in the locker room for the Rams for the last 11 years. And my first question to you was, why would they do this? Jared Verse,
Mhm.
defensive rookie of the year in his first year in the league. I think this might have been a prove it year, but the Rams just sort of decided to move on and bring in Myles Garrett. When you think of it in that way, what is your initial thought?
Yeah, my initial thought was obviously they really liked Jared. Jared's a good guy. Jared's got a big personality. He's out there, he's talking trash to the fans, to the players, to pretty much anyone in his way. He's going to talk trash to somebody, but at the end of the day, Jared is a good dude. And so to me, this seems like just a very clear, as good as Jared is and could become, this is an upgrade.
Mhm.
Splash, you get, defensive player of the year, what, 3 times?
Mhm.
If I'm not mistaken. And
I
so
mean,
that's
sack leader, you name it. Yeah.
right. Yeah. Sack leader, everything all accomplished, unbelievable player, unbelievable athlete. And so it's just, like I said, as good as Jared has been for the Rams over these past 2 years, you get to upgrade at that position. Obviously, you spend a lot to do it, but this kind of goes into the Rams. It's such an interesting offseason, Aaron, because you go first round and you go draft a quarterback that you just have reigning NFL MVP Matthew Stafford, and then all of a sudden you make a splash play like this, and my initial thought was, hey, the Rams are trying to win now, and they're trying to win in the future, and they're just trying to win the whole time. And I love it. I'm here for it. But that was my initial response. Because you bring a guy like Myles in, it's just what it does to other teams. It's just like the way you call defense can now completely change because you know exactly
Yeah.
who the offense is trying to stop.
Yeah, I would love to get more of that
Mhm.
feedback in a moment, but exactly like what you said, Garrett now coming off a career year
Yep.
again. He
again.
won the top defensive player award for the second time in
Mhm.
3 years. So it's almost like an Aaron Donald 2.0 high motor freak of nature, this guy, and what Myles Garrett is capable of doing. When you look at as exactly what you said, this team is in, I mean, Matthew Stafford must just be like, thanks guys, appreciate it.
Yeah, elated right
Nice.
now.
That makes the Ty Simpson pick feel all that much better. But when you think about how this changes the Rams' positioning in that division in the NFC West against the Seahawks, what does, and we were talking about it sort of offline, what does it make it have to do if you're the offensive line now that you have to, you kind of were breaking it down a little bit. Can you explain
Mhm.
what it means when you have to face a Myles Garrett as an offensive line?
Yeah, I mean, when you bring a guy like that in, and then especially when you're game planning for a guy, like that's the first name that gets brought up in the team meeting. Hey, we're not going to let this guy ruin our game plan. So someone else can. That's, we'll go ahead and fight that battle, but it's not going to be this guy. So from day one, Monday, whenever the game ends, and you have your first install or whatever it is, his name comes up. And then when you get to Sunday, like the whole plan is going to be to basically stop him. So either you're going to know which way the offensive line is going to slide because it's going to be to Myles, or they're going to slide away and then do what I Bleav it was Jacksonville did, and then travel two tight ends the whole time with him as he goes back and forth from the formation. But there's going to be eyes on him the whole time, and so what a Chris Shula can now draw up because he now knows exactly where teams are going to go. The complexity or be as simple as he wants. The way defense can be called, and you just basically almost bring everything away from him, knowing that you're just going to be like the matchups are going to be good. Like they love. I was mentioning this earlier. They love blitz and landman. Now you blitz landman away from Myles, and all of a sudden he's going to be matched up on a running back. And I know landman very well, and that's a matchup that you're going to want all game. I mean, he's going to win more of those than he doesn't. And so it just opens up doors and opens up everything. And let alone you still have to go stop Myles. So if that plan's not good enough, he's going to wreck the game. And if you don't let him do it, then you're giving one-on-ones to everybody else, a Kobe Turner, a Byron Young, Nate Landman on the running back, whatever it happens to be. Get some of these external safeties coming in. I mean, it's honestly just very exciting because I can't wait to watch the Rams next year.
Have you talked to anybody? Have you messaged any of your friends? Anybody on the team? Have you texted Landman yet?
No, not yet. I got a call from a couple of the staffers from the Rams telling me to put the weight back on. I'm coming back, but nope, keeping it off. It was good to see them. We kind of talked a little bit, but it was I was just more, obviously it's a big trade and the business, but I was kind of just trying to get a feel of, hey, how does the building respond to that? Because, that is a young defense. And so that's something to be brought up too. It's like, Jared was the first round pick and however many years.
10 years.
But, right. And then so, 2 years, all of a sudden he's included in a trade package. And so certain people can maybe understand it. Certain people are going to feel some type of way, and that's kind of negotiating a whole NFL locker room. But I think with a player as the caliber of player of Myles Garrett, I think a lot of people can definitely, if they feel some type of way, they can definitely start to like kind of see where this is coming from. But that's kind of just where my mind went to when I was talking to some of those guys of like, what's the reaction of the team?
Yeah, that's a great point and something most fans don't actually think about. How does this move affect the cohesion of the locker room, being that it was a younger defensive line? It changes things. Does it change it for the good or the bad? Just because he's talented. We were also talking about Max Crosby potentially getting added to the Rams locker room. And what would that actually be like? I know some people are messaging comments. Please feel free to ask Rob a question. or just sort of share your thoughts, your overall thoughts as fans. I'm always very curious to get the pulse of the fan nation when it comes to moves like this. Of course, no one better to sort of talk about this than with Rams Super Bowl champion tackle Rob Havenstein. You were in that locker room for 11 years, and you were making a really interesting point how the locker room and the men on the team are or will be impacted by this trade. Like the biggest news in the NFL right now, the Rams clearly going all in. If you haven't heard yet, the Rams trading for Myles Garrett, and in return, they are giving Jared Verse a 2027 first round pick, 2028 second, and a 2029 third, which again seems to be always the theme for us. Are the Rams going to all in, or is it just enough? They're not going to have another first round pick again. So
right
it
now.
just right now, right. Which again, that Atlanta first round pick went to Trent McDuffie. The second first round pick, the draft just happened, went to get Ty Simpson, an heir apparent to Matthew Stafford. So they are thinking future and planning to win now. But you just hope all of these things end up working out. Great question from Sports Fan 2026. Rob, what is it like blocking Myles? That's a great question. Have you ever had to go up against him? What's it like?
Yeah, it's man, I want to say we played him 2 years ago at SoFi, and he's primarily a left tackle side rusher, which thank you, say over there. And so same thing. Like we have our game plan for him. We know where he is a whole time. We're doing all of our changes based on him, whether he's on the field or not, is number one. And then can we play normal offense, or do we have to go deal with the Myles rule? And so I want to say he started so all first half he stays on the left side, which is great. And then he starts the second half on my side. And so when he first came out here, I was kind of like, whoa, like, buddy, wrong side. Like, you're over there. Get going, get going. And I want to say it was only like a play or two, and then he switched back because that's very clear where he's most comfortable. But it was definitely not frightening, but it was a heightened sense of urgency of, oh, okay, this might be a thing for just the second half. All the adjustments are now coming my way, and everything that we put in is going to be pretty much flipped for game plan if Myles is over on my side a lot. But with Myles, it's just, when you're blocking him, hopefully you don't have too many one-on-ones. And if you do, it's just, hey, try to be as perfect as you can in your technique, but you want to funnel into your help. Your help is somewhere in the play most of the time. If not, then that's probably not a great game plan. So funnel them to your help as much as possible. Try to get 4 hands on them, 6 hands on them. Shoot, if you can get 8 hands on them. But the guy's just that elite. I mean, that speed with that size, with that bend, and his highlights show up all over the place because that's just the type of player he is. So great question. I'm lucky I don't have that much of experience to having to do it, but
yeah,
it's definitely a point of emphasis whenever he's over here.
So then I'm just wondering, I'm dying to know how Kyle Shanahan is feeling right about now. He's really upset about going to Melbourne. That's for sure.
Yep.
It is again, massive blockbuster trade. Jared Verse goes to Cleveland. Myles Garrett comes to LA, and the Rams give up some draft capital moving forward. Talking to Rob Havenstein, Super Bowl champion with the Rams the last 11 years. Such great insight, guys. Feel free to ask questions. Share your thoughts. How are you feeling at home? I mean, it's been a wild off season. They just finished Stafford's contract officially. They bring in a young gun in Ty Simpson. We've got plenty of tight ends to navigate. No wide receiver, official wide receiver 3. So there's still some question marks. But I mean, when it comes to fortifying the defense, Myles Garrett is a game changer. You were mentioning his speed. He's imposing. What is it about him that makes him such a difference maker? What is it?
It's his first couple steps. He's so fast and he's so tall and long, and it's like he just gets there so quick, where if he gets a good jump on the ball. Like, I mean, the plays, techniques out the door. You got to turn and open and run. There's no catching up to him. You have to be perfect out there. But and then his bend around the corner with how big he is. Usually a taller guy can't get those ankles flexed and kind of get low enough to where, his center of gravity is not in a good pushable position for an offensive tackle. But his first couple steps is just so fast and so explosive, where you need to be almost perfect the entire game. And it looks like he does a good job learning throughout the game of like, all right, is this going to be a hard count team? Do they have any tips and tells where I can, maybe take a chance and go ahead and get a really good get off? And with a player like that, you're going to take a couple offsides of him almost guessing for a sack in the fourth quarter that, turns the tide, wins a game or something like that. But it's just size and speed is just out of this world. He's an all NFL, all world player. Just really, really exciting. Really exciting.
Yeah. Now you're scary up front. Now you're scary on the back end. I mean, Trent McDuffie to shore up the secondary. I think he's a 2-time Super Bowl winner. He's proven, and now Myles Garrett actually has a shot to get his opportunity for a chance at a Super Bowl run. When we were there in San Francisco this last Super Bowl, a lot of conversations around Myles Garrett not being happy in Cleveland. And I remembered hearing, he didn't want to talk about it. Don't ask him about it. So it's like, oh my gosh, you just shared, this news started to come out. And then we can't really ask Myles where he would like to go. But now it kind of feels like a nice fit. Like you said, Chris Shula gets this scary guy up front and the rest of the defense benefits. Who's the number one beneficiary of a guy like Myles Garrett when it comes to the Rams defense?
Oh man, there's so many. I mean, just in terms of talent of getting that guy on the field, he's going to make everybody better. It's kind of like the Aaron Donald effect. I mean, like, it's just with how much attention he's bringing, it just kind of frees everybody else up to kind of work and kind of explore other options, because they know they're going to be pretty much one-on-one the whole time. So if I had to put two names to it, it's a Byron Young, and then on top of that, a young pass rusher who's got some wiggle, Josiah Stewart. Expect big things this year from him. If everything starts trending the right way, he's got a lot of pass rush savvy. And then I think that one of the biggest ones is going to be Kobe Turner on the inside. He's got kind of a similar thing. Kobe likes to win with a lot of speed, quick wins right away. He's got really good hands. And if he knows exactly where that, and Kobe's an amazingly smart person, super talented. And so he picks up on the little football details very easy. And so if he knows who's trying to block him on every play, because, hey, the center is pretty much going to go that way the whole entire time, whether he's on the left or the right.
Wow.
He knows that the angles of an offensive guard trying to set down on him. Now he's opening everything up. He's not wondering if the center's coming to him. And obviously he can take some of that from slide calls and stuff like that. But like, he's going to physically know now, because everyone in the stadium is going to know where the attention is going to be directed to. So I would expect a big year from a Kobe Turner, causing havoc. Well, plus too, it's, with Myles' speed, he runs the hoop a lot. And so for certain defenses,
he runs what?
The hoop.
Okay. Can you elaborate what that means?
Yeah. So for a defensive end, if you ever seen them at an NFL practice, there's these big giant hoops, like big giant. I mean, they're 10 foot across or 9 foot or 8 foot or something. It's a big hula hoop. And they just practice running the sides of that hoop the whole time so they can bend the corner to get the quarterback. Myles is going to get there so fast and run that hoop more often than not, because he likes to win speed, going speed to power. He does have an inside move. It's he's Myles Garrett. Come on now. But with that threat of that speed kind of being there, quarterbacks aren't going to get as deep, and they're not going to want to. So that just means they're going to be closer to the interior rush. And Kobe's done such a nice job of his first couple of years with the Rams, and with a quarterback that's not going to be that far away. I think we're going to see a lot of big things from a Kobe Turner this year.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a ripple effect.
Mhm.
Just like you get someone good in the secondary, it helps everybody,
Yeah.
obviously.
Mhm.
Okay, so then the big question is age comparison.
Mhm.
Obviously, you're going a little bit older with a guy like Myles Garrett. Is that of concern? I want to say he's 30, and I Bleav Jared Verse is 24. Let me see if
Mhm.
I can pull up the age comparison. Is that of any concern when you sort of spend all of this on a guy that is not young, not
Sure.
necessarily in the middle of his career, but he is a high impact player at 30?
Yeah, it's something to think about. I think all that gets put to rest with just the caliber of player that Myles is. Um, there's obviously been a long-term plan with the Rams. I think a very interesting question, and Erin, you've talked about it before, and love to hear your opinion on it. Would be obviously he's going to require a lot more money too, and so then we start bringing in the cap and this, and now you're paying, McDuffie just got a new contract, well earned, but he's got a
Yeah.
new contract. Matthew got extended. Myles comes in, he's got his contract attached to it, and so that kind of brings up an interesting point of really what that true future looks like. Um, but I don't think the age it is that much of an issue because he just won back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year. So if you can get anything towards that caliber, 2, 3 years, 4 years, whatever it happens to be. Plus, with rushing the passer, it's kind of a skill that you can, if you're one of the top echelon guys, you can kind of do that for a long time. You saw Dwight Freeney do it for a long time. Von Miller's still out there rushing the passer. Maybe not to the same level, but can still get after a quarterback, confirmed. And I think he's going to do this for a lot of years.
Yeah. Well, and that's it. All of this shakes up in such a unique way. What does this actually mean? Does this now mean that in the event the Rams win the Super Bowl, let's just say Stafford, I'm just totally
Mhm.
assuming here, but it's something interesting to chew on. Then Stafford, if the Rams win the Super Bowl, Stafford retires. That frees up all this money that,
Right.
could potentially go and be shelled out to various places. I don't know if I'm super delayed. I can kind of tell on my end. So sorry. Bear with me, folks at home. We're doing this live. We're doing it
That's
live. All
right.
right. Let me read some of these comments, you guys. Please feel free to, if you have thoughts, questions. I always am curious what the fans think about the state of the Rams affair and the choices that they're making. But I'm assuming the fans are very happy about this. We answered your question about what's it like blocking Myles. You said not easy, but you were glad he was not on your side as
Mhm.
often. Praying to the NFL gods to keep everyone on the Rams healthy all season.
Mhm.
Stafford, the biggest beneficiary of all of this. That's for sure. That is for sure. And this is a good question too, from Brew Hog. You lost some depth on the O line since you left. Are you concerned that the O line is being overlooked?
No, no, I'm not. I know those guys. I know the guys in the room. It's kind of the same thing to an earlier comment. Hopefully, everyone stays healthy. Um,
Mhm.
it's really hard to find good offensive linemen. I think we have found them. Would love and need to keep them healthy, keep them going, to go ahead and keep Stafford upright. But no, I'm not concerned. Matthew has such a good command, and so if need be, and there's a backup in there, and luckily, unluckily for us, a lot of our backups have playing time. Justin Dedich, he's had multiple starts. Warren McClendon was my backup for a long time. If he wins out the right tackle role, Tross comes in. He's got good college tape. Hopefully, don't know what he's going to be about yet, but he looks impressive. So, I think I think there's enough guys there to when they have to come in and fill shoes that it's going to be okay. They're all about the right stuff, and it's going to be it's going to be fine until the day one starters are hopefully healthy enough to come back, and it's nothing too bad. But it pretty much comes down to I still want everybody to stay healthy the whole time. So
Yep. Yep. And they did for the most part last season. They had a little bit of trouble 2 seasons ago. But yeah, the best what is it? Availability. What's
the
the
best
term?
ability is your availability.
The best ability is your availability. And the Rams
Oh,
largely were healthy down the stretch. They had some issues. Obviously, you were unavailable, but
mhm,
Devontae went down for a couple games. You lost Puka. And so getting depth, making sure you have availability down the stretch, entering the playoffs is
mhm.
of the utmost important, which is why we love Reggie Scott so much and
Right.
why you sing his praises. He has a great relationship with the players. All right, so we're breaking down this huge blockbuster trade, Myles Garrett to the Rams. I had not heard of this rumor. Little sprinkles of the fact that he
Mhm,
wasn't happy in Cleveland. There was talk about the Eagles, talk about the Rams, talk about the Cowboys, but it didn't feel like that was going to be a slam dunk. And now Myles Garrett comes to LA. Jared Verse, the Rams breaking up a fairly young defensive core, and Jared Verse, Byron Young, Braden Fisk lose his former college teammate. And a good question certainly is, how does this impact the locker room? And what would be the first thing you would imagine a Myles Garrett now knew? Such a massive sort of amount of attention or distraction gets put to him.
mhm.
Um, what do you imagine he's trying to do to sort of ease his way into a locker room that I imagine will miss Jared Verse, but maybe not as much as happy to have a Myles Garrett?
Yeah, so there's two kind of roads, and I've been a part of a lot of different tough business decisions, and especially when you're young, you're on your first contract, and you come in with guys like in your year where you're like, hey, we're going to do this thing forever. We're all going to play 15 plus years, win 17 Super Bowls. There's rainbows, all over the place, and the business of the NFL kind of hasn't come in yet. It's hard to see a guy like that you kind of came in with, maybe you're really good friends with, and all of a sudden it's either walked around and, hey, you saw the news on being traded, whatever it is. Like, those are hard conversations to have with upper management, with your friends on the team. I don't know how all that went down, but no matter what, it's definitely a hard conversation. And so when Myles does get here, I think there's going to be excitement about having a Myles Garrett in the building, but that still doesn't take away from the fact that Jared had a lot of love in that locker room, and he's a great young man, and I expect him to do awesome things over in Cleveland, and but it doesn't quite take the sting away from seeing somebody who's young. That maybe if you're a young player too, you're like, if it could happen to Jared, it could happen to anyone, and that's kind of
Mhm.
like the business side of the NFL poking its way in. But I think once everything kind of settles and the dust calms down, obviously you're going to be very excited about a Myles Garrett, and to learn from, to get all of his life experiences and game experiences, and any tips and tricks, or hey, this is what teams usually do to me. That's like clears up this on the backside, just a little minutia of football detail. And but there's definitely two roads that people will kind of feel, especially in that locker room.
Mhm. Bleav in Rams, presented by FanDuel. If you check out FanDuel Sportsbook, Vegas has them even higher as an odd to win the Super Bowl at plus 550. Go check it out. I mean, they were already in the one spot,
Mhm.
and now their chances increase even more. In fact, I Bleav Baltimore is now number 2.
Oh,
Seahawks, who
really?
were originally at the 2 spot, dropped even lower. Pointed out by ESPN Research, the 2026 Rams, Rob, now have the 2025 NFL leaders in passing yards and passing touchdowns, thanks to Stafford. Receptions, thanks to Puka Nacua. Receiving touchdowns, courtesy of a one Devontae Adams. And now they have the 2025 NFL leader in sacks.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, it's impressive.
Yeah.
I don't know how Les kind of keeps getting away with this, but man, that's a heck of a stat. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm feeling the same way you are about it, Erin. Where it's just all that comes together, and on paper it looks really well. So hopefully on the field it comes together in the same way.
And I think, like you mentioned, having Byron young, does this impact him in any way? Whether how do you think he's feeling? Do you think he's feeling a certain kind of way, or should feel a certain kind of way, or should he be elated at the moment? I mean,
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be tough. I know him and Jared had a great relationship, and they were always working together and talking together. So kind of similar to
mhm,
what I was just saying. There's probably going to be two different fields of thought on that one, but
mhm,
um, at the end of the day, it's a decision that's made almost above. Not almost. It's made above you, and so it's how can we move forward the correct way? It still doesn't take the sting away from any of the feelings that you may be feeling or thoughts you may have, but this is the direction we're going. Everyone in that locker room is going to try and win, and
mhm,
so how do we
mhm.
make do with what we got? And obviously, what we got is a Myles Garrett. So
Yeah.
that's if he's not excited right away, I'll be excited for him.
Yeah, and it's a great question to ask, and it's so great that
Oh,
we have
100%.
Rob's perspective because you're so familiar with that locker room. How much is, bringing on a generational talent, transcendent player in a Myles Garrett, could that disrupt the younger core of the defensive line that they've sort of architect the last couple of years? But we shall see. Rob Havenstein breaking down a huge blockbuster trade, Myles Garrett coming to Los Angeles. Does this now, and I'll end it here, but my question to you is, Rob, do the Rams now have the best defense in the NFL?
Oh, that's tough. Hard to say. On paper, maybe. You know, on paper, certainly you got the reigning defensive player of the year twice. You've got a lockdown corner in Chet McDuffie. You got a couple young guys. Byron just made the Pro Bowl, so you got Pro Bowlers back there. I think on paper, 100% of the way. But with everything that my 11 years has taught me about kind of June, May-ish type time frame, is that it's not really football right now, and so the only thing that really
Mhm.
matters are those Sundays. So if everything clicks and everything's working well and going well, which it should, I have no doubt or no reason to think it wouldn't. But you can't win games here in June. You win them on
Mhm.
Sundays into the work you put in training camp. So I think on paper, 100%, they might have one of the best defenses in the NFL, maybe technically of all time. I mean, it's kind of silly actually looking at it, but man, I keep saying it, but man, I'm excited for this. I hope all you Rams fans at home are just excited as me. It's good. It's going to be a special run.
I mean, to be able to get to see the reaction of like John Lynch's face when he heard this news, right?
Oh yeah.
I just think the NFC West, the Rams, again, the fact that they have 7 prime time games this season, just this is all part of it. It's just their must watch entertainment, and
Oh yeah.
adding Myles Garrett to the fold, it's like my I can only imagine how much more entertaining it's going to be on game day. I mean, that's a wrap, Rob. I feel like we're going to learn more and hear
Mhm.
more regarding the specifics of his contract. But as of right now, Browns are receiving Jared Verse, a 2027 first round pick, a 2028 second, and a 29 third round pick. So that's a lot of draft capital. And again, I think we're going to probably be marinating on what's too much and what's just right. And, how will the future look? If are they over leveraging too much when it comes to draft capital? I guess only time will tell, right?
Only time will tell.
All right, for Rob Havenstein, I'm Erin Coscarelli. You're watching Bleav in Rams. Thank you guys for listening. Also, don't forget, hit subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, write a review. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. All right, Rob. Well, I'm sure I'll see you again this week.
Absolutely. Can't
All
wait
right.
to talk.
Thanks, guys.